Good morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Simply Brilliant. I am Phil Brilliant, and it is Tuesday morning, November 18th. Where is time going? I cannot believe it. I was doing the math in my head this morning. I think that makes it like 12 days left of November. So what is that? 37 days till Christmas, and what is that? 41 days left of the year. That's something like that. That's amazing. Where did 2025 go? It has been a crazy and quick year. But I'm glad you've joined me this morning. I want to make a quick note that I will not be airing on Thursday. I will be on Friday instead. I'll be heading down tomorrow to the New Jersey League of Municipalities annual conference in Atlantic City. It is a conference that basically brings municipal elected officials and elected officials such as the MUA and other municipal officials from New Jersey together to get continuing education credits that they need for their certifications or licenses, to educate them if they're new and coming into a new position, and just to educate them on what's happening in New Jersey, laws, everything that might be going on. There's also an exhibit hall where vendors such as engineers, environmental consultants, drillers, waste disposal, people who sell traffic lights, pavers, all the things that municipalities in New Jersey use for their services, come together and try to introduce themselves to all these elected officials as well as contracting officials. I have gone for many, 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 many years. I've been an exhibitor. Past couple of years, I walk the floor, I talk to people. One to regroup on people I haven't seen in a long time, but two to meet new people. So I'll be down there the next 2 days, and quite honestly, Wednesday night is usually a very late, late night. So I don't think you want to see me Thursday morning. So I'll be back on Friday morning, the 21st, and I promised I'll give you a quick update of what's going on. But I want to hit a few topics this morning, and I think it's important again. When I started this back in April, which I can't believe it seems like it was yesterday, I wanted to make sure I got out information to people in Toms River as well as the greater community about what's going on here in Toms River, because I think we still can agree. And as we collect more signatures every day to recall Daniel Rodrick, and we're getting closer to that number where we will have more signatures than he got votes in 2023. It is not just 13 people in the room. It's not the Mohill gang, as he likes to yell and scream. It is people of Toms River who are just upset and have had enough of what Daniel Rodrick's chaos has done to Toms River. I'm going to touch upon a few of those things as I close out this morning. Quick note, just want to say, uh, Debbie and I had the opportunity to spend some time this past weekend with my family, my sister and her family, down in Kiawah Island in South Carolina. It's part of Johns Island. It is just about 45 minutes outside of Charleston, South Carolina. What a beautiful weekend. What a beautiful place. It is, I would say, expensive. We did not have to pay for the rental. Thank you very much, my sister and her husband. But no, just a beautiful place to kind of chill out. We relaxed, didn't really do much. I did play golf, which is embarrassing for me to say. Not very good, and it was a rough course. Let's put it that way. It was a difficult course, but it was fun. Probably about 25 degrees warmer than it is here, and just a beautiful place. And I always, no matter where we go, and again, Kiawah Island, Charleston is a different world than Toms River, and I completely understand that. But every place we go, we always go to a downtown area. And I always sit back and think, God, the potential that Toms River has to be a downtown area where people want to go walk and spend some time and enjoy shops and live. And I know there's people who live downtown Toms River, and I'm not discrediting that at all. And downtown Toms River has really changed over the years, but it could be a 365-day a year place as opposed to a 3-month place. Um, but you need to bring people downtown. and different type of people. And we have houses, we have community, we have neighborhoods, but we got a waterfront that is just underutilized. That hopefully somewhere in my lifetime, somebody comes up with a plan that everybody appreciates and can get behind. We're just not there right now. And the way that Daniel Rodrick has done it, it's going to be a judge who decides what happens down there. And I think that's not fair to the residents of Toms River, especially the residents downtown Toms River, that a judge will mandate what happens there. If there was negotiation involved or a way for, that to be backtracked, we'd like to see that happen. And with that, I'm really trying to push this, and I will keep pushing it. At the last council meeting, which people have come out and said the allies, came Roderick's allies fell apart that day and he lost a lot of big votes. And we're not quite sure, because, when chaos reigns and you try to get into the mind of a madman, you know, did he want the MUA to be dissolved or did he want the power of the council to go to the mayor? If I had to guess, and he usually has some kind of distraction out there. That's why we have fireworks and we have movies and we have concerts in the summer. It's to distract away from the fact that there's no business going on in Toms River and that people in town hall really don't know how to manage a town of this size. Uh, but, there was another ordinance on the agenda that did pass. And it was the ordinance to do eminent domain on the BoatWorks property. And this is a property that's come back. We've talked about it a lot off and on. Tom's River passed an ordinance back in 2024 and a bond ordinance to purchase this property. It's 1 Robbins Parkway. It's that dilapidated building that has since been torn down by the property owner, not by Tom's River Township. And by the way, the property owner tore it down after Tom's River approved the ordinance to purchase the property for $1.85 million, even though the value appears to be about $900,000. And property owner never paid the contractor, never paid the contractors involved in that work. And so there's liens and there's lawsuits against it. But even before that, there were tax liens on the property. There was a mortgage lien on the property. Tom's River didn't do their due diligence before they did that ordinance. And because of that, they've never been able to come to a resolution to close on the property that the township authorized the purchase of, that the council authorized 2 ordinances to bond it and to purchase it. And so all the work that's been done and the ownership still sits with the property owner. A beautiful property that, when I say beautiful, it can be beautiful if you use it right. It's got a waterfront area. But, I will tell you, I am one, and I will keep yelling from the top of the tallest buildings in Toms River. A spray park, a small tiki bar is not the right use. There's no parking. Why plan something that is only good for 3 to 4 possible months out of the year? Why don't we come up with something that has the ability to bring people downtown to Toms River 12 months a year? And it doesn't, I'm not saying bring in outsiders. I'm saying just people in Toms River. Let's stay here. You know, every now and then we go to dinner up in Asbury Park, we go to Bayhead, we go down south to Manahawkin, LBI. Let's bring more into Toms River. And I will tell you, I say it once, I'll say it 100 times. A Time for All Seasons, best kept secret in Toms River. Love that restaurant. The distillery, the brewery, though I did hear the distillery is leaving and possibly somebody else coming in. Um, you know, but this is just the opportunity for more downtown Toms River. And don't yell at me about traffic, okay? Because I'll go back and say that Dan Rodrick sent back $6.5 million to the federal government to redo the traffic downtown, and it will eventually get redone down there. But you know, look at 37, look everywhere else in Toms River. We have a lot of traffic these days. And really the bigger issue downtown is flooding, which would have been taken care of by that $6.5 million build grant that the federal government had given us. But Dan Rodrick thought a build grant meant to build buildings because he didn't really understand. So he sent it back to the federal government. But I want to flip back. again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV, and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. All those good things I like to say. But I started thinking, so we have an ordinance that Tom's River passed last year to purchase the property for $1.8 million, 1.85 million, a property that probably is worth about $900,000. Um, they passed a bond, and now they're doing an eminent domain. It seems like you're kind of doing it half-ass or going backwards. And I was like, well, doesn't the $1.85 million set the baseline as to what the property's worth, and you have to give fair market value? So isn't that going to come back and now bite you in the butt when you do eminent domain? We'll see what ends up happening. There was a second reading of this ordinance on December 10th, and I really wish that the council would vote this down. I think it needs to be better evaluated. I think you need to figure out, how best to approach this property. It's still in the property owner's hands. I think there's been some negotiations from what I can see from Oprah's and the fact that the township passed the ordinance. But to me, the couple of questions I had were, do you rescind the original ordinance? And it appears the answer is no, you don't have to. But, you know, the township's decision to proceed now with eminent domain could be a, complex situation because the compensation value has been set at $1.85 million. And that was what the original property owner had been offered. How do you handle the liens that are on the property? And, Dan Rodrick made a comment at the last meeting that the township will not be responsible for those liens if they do eminent domain, which is true when you do eminent domain. But when it's township tax that's owed, you're basically then giving the person a potential write-off on those tax liabilities, and that's lost revenue to Tom's River. So how does all that play out? We'll see if Tom's River had done their due diligence in the beginning. If Tom's River had done things right at the Clifton Avenue park site, we wouldn't be in these situations. And if I say it once, I say it 100 times. When you put people who don't have an understanding of municipal government, when you put people who are a school teacher or principal, and you have a DJ as your business administrator, you have a physics major behind the scenes, in the finance department, you have an attorney who came from the, basically, automobile accident industry, you're not getting good counsel. And you end up with these situations. And this one may be more difficult to dig out of. So if Daniel Rodrick was listening, stop, say, we made a mistake. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's pull back everything we've done and let's start fresh. Because at this point in time, Tom's River's only spent money on attorneys, and we do that very well, but the liability still sits with that property owner. So why bail him or her out of anything at this point in time? Come up with a plan. Though I have seen we have spent money on engineering for this spray park, which again I think is where are you getting water from? Where's the sewage going to be? You're going to change the entire downtown little area there, makeup, and there's still no parking. Where are you parking cars if people want to go to the spray park? You dropping off your 6-year-old kid to go play in the spray park and come back in an hour? No, you're not. So needs some thought, needs some planning, and that's the one thing we're not getting here. We're getting rush, 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 decide, decide, decide. So throw that out there. I think that the council should vote no on December 10th and send Tom's River back to the drawing board, but do something with the waterfront. Let's come up with a plan of action because vacant lots really are ugly these days. This morning, interesting enough, I did get a couple people calling me. I guess Bill Spadia, radio commentary person on 101.5, is back on the radio after he failed gubernatorial election. And I guess he was bashing people behind the recall for Daniel Rodrick and bashing them because, I heard he bashed former Chief Mitch Little. I heard he says he blames it on the fact that he took a picture with Dan Rodrick last year and that Dan Rodrick posted it, not him, which is not true. It was his people who posted it, and that all fell apart. No, he bailed on Tom's River when I originally had reached out to him and he had made comments on social media, and I have all of them recorded. Excuse me, made comments on his radio broadcast, which I have all of them. He was going to help us with the recall. He thought Dan Rodrick was a scoundrel for what he was doing to the police, for what he did to Silverton EMS. There's a laundry list. And now his tune has changed. Not sure why, but I'm sure we will find out soon enough as to why. Um, but it made me think, and I'm going to quickly go through this, and then I'm going to jump off, and I want to keep you all too much longer. We have 68 days to complete the recall, 18,464 signatures to go. I do hope Bill Spadia, who had said he would help us, maybe he will come back and try to help us to get that. People had asked me, what is the positive that Dan Rodrick has done in Tom's River? And so I started making some notes. So he did say that he has not raised taxes in his 2 years, which is true. And the council has agreed his budget and he's reduced spending in town, but he has cut into the surplus of the town by doing this. He has eliminated valuable services, both police and EMS. As much as he wants to say that there are more boots on the ground, there are not more boots on the ground. And we see it every day. We have added traffic lights, we have added stop sign, we have lowered speed limits. But if you don't have the people out there policing that, it's really a waste of time and money. Because I will tell you, every time I drive to work, every time I'm behind the wheel of a car, I watch people blowing stop signs, blowing traffic lights. It is ridiculous what happens here in town. And we don't have enough personnel to really, you know, govern. We don't have enough personnel to manage our police and to manage our EMS services, and our safety and our public safety here in Toms River has been jeopardized by this mayor. Parks, spray parks, fireworks, concerts, movies, they are all distractions away from the things that are not happening here in Toms River. And the money we spend on that BS, as I'll call it, we could be putting towards EMS services, more police, and those things that he just likes to fight against. Maybe we could help some people who have homelessness in Toms River. Maybe we could help some people who have food insecurities, and we can do some good with that money, because not for nothing, when I went out to go collect signatures, or I went out and talked to people at the fireworks and concerts and the movies, they weren't from Toms River. They were come from surrounding areas. So our tax dollars going for somebody in Lavalette to go watch movies. I don't think that's a good use. Last but not least, the paving jobs. A lot of them are county jobs that we've seen on the list that he is taking credit for, and the jobs have been done wrong. We're seeing streets in areas that are sensitive to flooding more than they had previously. So I think our engineering department needs to get back to work on that. Um, we have a lot wrong in Toms River, and this administration's not fixing it. They have made things worse in the first 2 years. I'm scared of the next 2 years, and that's why I am firmly behind the recall of Daniel Rodrick, and I think you should too. Go to recalldanielrodrick.com or email recalldanielrodrick@gmail.com. We need to continue to get Toms River back to what people came to live here. People have raised their families. It's respectability, it's transparency, it's accountability, and it's trust. And we don't have that right now in Toms River. I'm Phil Brilliant. This is Simply Brilliant. I will see you Friday morning. Have a fantastic day.